Can you tell us a little bit about your role in the Opera House?
I always joke with people and say I help out backstage at Vancouver Opera, which is kind of funny, and I do. I try to, be helpful. But my role as the director of engagement and civic practice, and I know that's a mouthful,
Well, there we go.
is to extend the boundaries of what opera could be in our city. Oftentimes, opera is viewed as an elite art form that's not accessible.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. People often think that because that's been historically how opera has been presented. It's
Yeah.
a tool of the elites to, I think, reestablish that. And what I try to do is to say, hey, wait a second, opera is also about voices. It's also about telling stories. And we do that all the time. So I find unique and interesting ways to do that off the main stage and in the community, engaging our audience and maybe potential future audiences, as well as future artists. So I'll try to leverage all of the tools that are at my disposal, which is education, community, teamwork, community concerts, all of that to try to tell a story that's beyond like this is a stuffy art form to this is a welcoming place that we can celebrate the beauty of the human voice.
Oh my God, I love that. And is that a little bit of what we got invited to the other day at the public library?
Absolutely.
Je suis enchanté. Happy to see you. Bleibe reste. Stay. Willkommen. Bienvenue. Welcome. To VPL, to VPL, to VPL. Meine Damen und Herren. Mesdames et Messieurs. Ladies and gentlemen. Guten Abend. Bonsoir. Good evening. Na, wie geht's? Comment ça va? Do you feel good? Ich bin eure Konferencier. Je suis votre compte. We are your hosts. Und sagen, willkommen, bienvenue, welcome to VPL, to VPL, to VPL. Forget about your worries and your cares for just tonight. So, your life is disappointing. Forget it. We have no troubles here at the VPL. None at all. None at all. None at all. Maybe a few. No, zero. We are here with our beautiful audience. Bravo.
So that event, Opera Adventures, is to try to allow library patrons to have an organic encounter with opera and the power of the voice. So we wanted to create a very informal and fun vibe for people to discover that this is not a boring and stuffy art form. This is a fun way to share stories and to use incredible voices that have been carefully trained to showcase stories and feelings in big ways and sometimes small ways.
Yeah. I mean, I want to know what got you into opera, because we met you at Creative Mornings and you spoke about music and like loving it through your childhood and then your adult life. But music is so wide ranging, and opera, I feel like it's such a small niche in a way.
Yeah, it is. I blame my parents' cassette collection. So growing up in small town BC, my parents were older when they adopted my sister and I, and they had like hundreds and hundreds of cassette tapes, because that was the preferred method of distributing music.
Yeah.
And they were a lot of the tapes were classical, and they were arranged by spine color. Each of the different labels, like the yellow was Deutsche Grammophon, the red was RCA Victor, the gold was Philips. And I was drawn to that visually. I think I wonder what that could have meant. And so I wanted to catalog all of them, and I would look at them, and I'd open the cassettes up and read all the little booklets, and then I'd play the cassettes. And I made my own kind of musical education through that. And then it just became natural to sing along with the music.
Yeah.
And my parents wanted to encourage that, so they put me into music classes, and I just started to sing. And I wasn't necessarily copying the singers, but I was making them my own. And it just became natural for me to extend my personality into being a singer and also a piano player. So I took piano lessons, singing lessons, and then I started entering music festivals, and I did okay on those. And so it just came natural to me that I would keep pursuing that.
That is so awesome. Yeah. And it kind of, I mean, I really like the discovering it through cassettes and stuff, because, for example, I like it, but I'm not as knowledgeable in it. because my grandma really likes opera.
Nice.
And for example, I'm really looking forward to, there's that new movie that's coming out with Angelina Jolie about Maria. Yeah. I really want to go watch that movie with her because she was a huge fan of her.
Yes.
And yeah, so I grew up like going to like school and then ballet classes and listening to opera with her in the car. But it's a very rare experience. And then, so like I kind of, oh yeah, my grandma listens to opera. Sure, I have some on my phone, comes up sometimes when I shuffle all my songs. But then the sort of way back into it was last year we went to the opera in the park.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, this is so fun. So I really liked, like when we met you at Creative Mornings, I was like, oh my God, I guess maybe he's one of the people that makes it happen.
Yes. Well, opera also has these big moments, these iconic songs and arias, we call them.
Yeah.
The famous Nessun Dorma that was when, all these sporting events or in numerous commercials, the Habanera from Car. Yeah. These are iconic music that you instantly know and associate a feeling. And even people who don't think they're singers will try to sing along, who hasn't imagined themselves in that piece, just sort of letting loose in a way that's really unbridled. And so it's that kind of raw passion that's exciting about the opera. And opera is the uniting of all of the art forms, all the visual arts, all the musical arts, drama, lighting, sound, sets, dance, and you can bring it all together into what we think is a crazy, crazy blend, a very expensive blend also. So it's kind of that balancing that we do here.
Well, but like the excitement, the feeling, that's so beautiful.
I know.
And we were just talking a little bit when we were watching the rehearsal about the timelessness of it, because we're looking at the rehearsal and it's like, oh, is this what the original opera looked like? Like, how do you modernize it?
I was wondering,
Right?
I didn't know when we first got, with the cameras and stuff, we went in and I was like, this looks so different from when I was expecting.
Yeah, we were expecting like the gowns and the
and it was really cool. And then Pablo over here, camera, is a huge fan of Batman. So we saw Batman walk or like,
What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. So I was wondering about that, like specifically. I mean, Die Fledermaus, which is the one that we were looking at right now. If it was a new adaptation or something that you guys are doing.
It's a great question, and the answer is yes. So we take all these operas and we can have a lot of leeway and try to do something with it, to adapt it. And so we have a writer, a very well-known writer named Mark Crawford, who's written a lot of great Canadian plays, including Birds and Bees, I think. I'm not sure of that, but we gave him the libretto, which is Pensively saying script, for this and said, hey, can you update this and make it fun for 2024 audiences? So he went away, made some changes, and created something very exciting. And so he updated all of the storytelling, and we have this fresh new English dialogue that is very funny and kind of propels the story. Some people choose to do the original German dialogue or not. And so we also were able to update the time period and have this kind of swinging 60s vibe to the whole show, which is going with our sort of retro 60s look. That is what our season is all about, because we're celebrating 65 years.
Yeah, that's so cool. I like how it all ties. Yeah. Full circle here.
Yes, indeed.
What else would you be doing if you were not doing this?
I would probably be working with people in some capacity to help them tell their stories. I sometimes think I would be working with maybe inmates to talk about storytelling or how, what it means to be incarcerated or what that looks like. It's something that I'm very fascinated by, the criminal justice system. So maybe it'd be that. I've always worked with people. I've always worked in communications. I've always liked to create things that tell a story. So no matter what job I have, whether it's in the arts, whether that's teaching kids in a adult education, or whether that's I always found ways to do that. So it probably wouldn't be far. Maybe it wouldn't be the opera, but maybe it would be something that would trigger people's memories. I think memory is a powerful driver of action.
Yeah. I love that. Because I don't know, at least for me, I feel like we tend to say we're also a storyteller. This is the business we're in. And at least for me, one of the biggest things about telling stories, thematically, is memory.
Yes.
And I like to go back to it a lot, like my own memory and people, especially like historical things. So I lit that.
The other answer is I always say that I will be raising goats on a Gulf island. So I find Gulf Islands to be incredibly relaxing and no people. And so sometimes there's a desire to just look after goats, make sure they don't fall off the cliff or something like that. But I feel like maybe that'd be more work than I'm thinking it is. So
Probably.
I tried to, something that I think is also a driver. My passion is nature and the environment. Something that my parents also instilled in me. And I think naturally I was just drawn to the idea of walking around in nature and kind of seeing what would come to mind when I was in nature or exploring wild places. And so those places are always very special to me because it allows me to connect with, I think, memory, but also envision future when you have a different wild landscape, which we have in BC. And so the chance of being near water, mountains, air is extremely moving. And so the few times I've spent on Gulf Islands, I've seen a lot of wild goats. And I always wondered who's looking after them because I think it's important that they stay there. Maybe I could just leave like something out for them and they'd be okay. I don't know that I actually want to really be in charge of raising new goats, but maintaining the existing ones would be okay.
I think you would have a lot of fun raising the goats.
It's like, I don't know if it looks exactly the way. Have you ever seen Clarkson's farm?
I have, yes.
So that's what I'm reaching.
Well, I mean, it was either that. I mean, my first job that I envisioned doing was being like a fire spotter in a tower, right? Because this is before climate change and everything happened. I thought it'd be a chance for me to really catch up on my reading. I could be in a tower just reading all these books that people have been getting me to, but no, then I'd be actually seeing real fire. So I think you'll see in my dream jobs a desire for solitude and calm, which sometimes doesn't always happen in my chaotic day-to-day, which is balancing a million projects and a million little burning fires that need to be put out in different ways.
But as you know, like I find very interesting just now the balance between looking for solitude, but also you're talking about how you want to work with people and help people. So
there's a tension there, absolutely, between, wanting to harness energy and also wanting to escape energy too. So it's that dueling blend that I think I sometimes look for.
And just when you were talking about nature, I think we both resonate with that a lot. Like personally and with the show, I think we care a lot about how we've embraced living in Vancouver, and it's become, I feel like now we can say that it's become a home, and we're just very, very thankful about the nature that surrounds us. Yeah. So,
and I don't know, I feel like it's a very interesting, the nature thing is a very interesting topic. Well, I mean, caring for it, but also how people, they're kind of like what you were saying, but the relationship that people here have with it, and how we were telling you before that we were in Sbsh. Somebody was telling us, here is Sbsh, if you don't have a sport, you don't have a community, and so you don't kind of get in touch with people if you're brand new. And we were talking after the public library event, and we were talking with family going through saying, I think I have this theory that here people spend time with each other through hobbies. I think most of them happen in nature. Like people go cowboying and hiking, blah, blah, blah. So it's like cool, kind of makes I feel like between basking in the beauty of the nature and kind of appreciating and taking care of it, and also using it, I guess. The city in particularity has like a very nice relationship. I'm very caring, very loving towards nature.
I think so too. I think it's absolutely accurate.
You didn't grow up in Vancouver?
No, I grew up on Vancouver Island. Yeah, I think it's a different type of connection that you can have. There's more solitude and there's more variety that's closer. It's not, because here you have to drive quite a long way for you to really find true solitude. In nature, here it can be quite busy in a lot of the places, and so sometimes I find myself, especially in the summer, longing for like a peaceful lake to swim in. And here you probably have to drive like for 2 or 3 hours to find such a thing and not be overrun with people, which is good and bad.
yeah, it's fair.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk to us about now that we're here at the opera? Anything that inspires you?
I think, you can find connection in a lot of different ways. You've talked about discovering things in nature with community, but a lot of the ways that I found community is through attending the arts, whether that's going to a film festival or to a music festival or to the writers festival or being in community with the people who make art. It can be a lonely time to create art, but then when you come together to create and to build, it can be a celebration, and we can find commonality through creation and through appreciation. And so I think the idea of being both a creator and an audience is important to the arts. You have to both give and you have to receive. And so to do both, I think, is something to celebrate.
Awesome. For sure. Yeah, we're more than in sync with that statement. I think arts and culture is something very meaningful to us.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley. Was that the other Ashley? I came in. Is the other? I'm looking for Ashley. You're like, which one? Can you walk us quickly through what you're doing today at the opera? We're here in a dress rehearsal.
Yes, absolutely. So on a day like this, we're putting the finishing touches on our main stage production. What I'm looking for is we bring a lot of students to the shows. We want to have them discover what it's like to create opera. And so we bring students to observe and to ask questions. We take them backstage to hopefully allow them to envision themselves maybe appearing here one day. So a lot of that is about welcoming new folks in. Also, I'm getting ready for opening night because I do the pre-show talks. Also, a lot of my work is over by this point because I've done all of the additional events, all the online interviews and videos and comic strips and anything and everything. So it's kind of a chance to take a breath and get ready for the next opera and to celebrate the hard work of the last few months. And so it's also a bit delicate because we're also have students that are observing in the orchestra. We need to make sure that they're comfortable as well too. So it's a lot of moving pieces that need to fit together. And so it's delicately balancing that and working with my team and also the other teams at the opera to make sure we're ready for opening night, because opening night is a huge party. It's also the audience coming in, and it's also making sure all those moving parts fit together. So it's a puzzle piece sometimes.
Yeah, we're so happy that you guys have us here tonight.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks for coming.
Et notre ami.
Oh, yeah. Ashley and Jorge.
Beautiful. Who are you?
I'm Tabitha. I'm one of the co-hosts. I guess I am the co-host.
I am Nick. Who are you?
I am Martin.